Hi, and welcome to DrupalBrief. This is an AI-generated summary of another video, podcast, or blog post. If you want to learn more about what's being discussed here, then please go check out the source. This podcast is produced by the team at Drupal Forge. Drupal Forge is the new #1 open-source development and hosting platform. It has all the functionality of the expensive platforms, but at very affordable prices. If you're looking for a new hosting provider, contact us for a demo before you get locked in. Okay, that's it. Make sure to click subscribe, and here we go.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Good to be here.
So, this time we're digging into the latest from the Drupal world, all based on the Weekly Drop newsletter, issue 679 from April 24th, 2025.
Yep, packed as usual. It's our job, really, to pull out the important bits for you.
Exactly. Think of this as your shortcut. We wade through the headlines, the core updates, the articles, everything, to find what really matters, and maybe some surprises.
For sure. The Weekly Drop covers a lot of community news, technical stuff, jobs, the works. We'll try to give you the highlights and, what they actually mean.
Okay, let's jump right in then. First up, DrupalCon Atlanta 2025. The newsletter points to a Drupal Association blog post calling it a celebration of community, innovation, and impact.
That framing community, innovation, impact, that says a lot, doesn't it? It's not just about the code.
Right. It's the people, the new ideas, and what Drupal actually does out in the world. It feels like a statement.
It really captures the essence of the project, I think.
And speaking of driving the project, big news about leadership. 4 new Drupal core leaders announced.
Yeah, that's significant. New leaders often mean, fresh perspectives, maybe a slight shift in focus.
Especially since it lines up with this ongoing strategy update they mentioned. So new people, maybe new directions.
Could be. It definitely shows the project is healthy, bringing new people into those core roles. It's something to keep an eye on for sure, what direction things might take.
Definitely. Another thing to watch, Drupal Starshot is exploring a marketplace.
Oh, interesting.
And they put out a call for input and volunteers. What would a marketplace actually do for Drupal, do you think?
Well, potentially quite a lot. I mean, imagine a central place to find and maybe even purchase modules or themes or services. It could boost visibility for developers.
And make it easier for site builders to find what they need.
Exactly. If it's done well, community input is crucial there, making sure it works for everyone.
Makes sense. Sticking with the community, the 2025 Global Drupal Developer Survey is happening.
Ah, yes, the survey. Always important.
Why is that kind of feedback so critical?
It's all about data. Understanding what tools developers are using, what problems they're hitting, what they like or don't like about Drupal right now.
So it directly feeds back into development priorities.
Absolutely. It helps steer the ship, basically, address the real pain points.
Okay, let's get a bit more technical. Some Drupal core updates mentioned. These can seem small, but often have bigger implications, right?
Often, yeah. They're refining the engine.
Like this one. Drupal migrate attribute migrate source won't include the source module property anymore. What's the impact for someone doing migrations?
Well, previously you might have used that property to figure out where migrating data came from.
Okay.
Now, its removal means you'll probably need to track that source information differently. Maybe be more explicit in your migration configuration file itself. It encourages a more, let's say, robust setup.
Got it. Then there's the extension MIME type guesser being split up. Something about a new MIME type map interface. Sounds like code organization.
That's exactly what it is. Think of it like tidying your garage. Instead of one big messy box, you create smaller labeled containers.
Makes things easier to find, easier to maintain.
Precisely. It improves maintainability, makes the code cleaner, and lets different parts evolve more independently. Good practice in a big project like Drupal.
Right. And then additions for config validation. A new at least don't have constraint.
And a new config.schema checker service, too.
Both sound like they're about tightening things up, improving reliability.
Definitely. At least turn off lets you say, okay, for this setting, you must pick at least one of these specific options. Helps avoid bad configurations.
And the schema checker.
That's more for developers. It's like an early warning system. It helps you catch mistakes in your configuration definitions during development, not, when things break later. Smoother sailing.
Nice. And one more core thing, new filters and views. Is empty, N-U-L-L, and is not empty, not N-U-L. Seems handy.
Oh, yeah, very handy. Anyone who's built complex views knows that handling empty fields can be, tricky sometimes.
You end up writing custom code or complex filter groups.
Exactly. These new filters let you handle the "is it truly empty" or NULL case directly in the View's UI. Much cleaner, more efficient for site builders.
Okay, let's pivot a bit. The newsletter highlights some interesting articles too.
Always some good reads in there.
There's one called A Drupal Couple. Community first, business second. Build everything with Drupal. Sounds like a passion story.
Yeah, those are great. They remind you it's not just about the tech, right? It's about the people, the community spirit. That collaborative vibe is a huge part of Drupal.
Totally. And from the same source, A Drupal Couple, there's another piece. IXP, graduates from initiative to program. Companies can start using it now.
ISP, graduating from initiative to program.
What does that suggest to you? Sounds like something's become more formalized.
Yeah, that graduation implies it's moved beyond an experimental phase. It's likely some kind of framework, or maybe a set of best practices, or perhaps tooling. Something related to the developer or project experience, now deemed ready for broader use by companies.
So, something companies using Drupal should probably investigate.
I'd say so. Worth looking into what IXP actually offers now that it's a full program.
Then we have a couple of thought leadership pieces. The Rise of Drupal, A New Era by Balint Pecker, and Drupal Called Me by Dries Bytart himself.
Perspectives from key figures. Always valuable.
What do we gain from reading those?
Context, mainly. And vision. They offer insights into Drupal's history, why certain decisions were made, and where influential people see it going. It helps understand the bigger picture.
Makes sense. Now, a recurring theme seems to be the content editor experience. Articles like Content Editor UX, Why CMS Usability is Tough, and another listing top 9 Drupal modules for a top-notch content editing experience.
That focus isn't surprising, it's crucial.
Why so critical?
Because at the end of the day, a CMS lives or dies by how easy it is for the content people to actually use it. If editing content is a pain,
People won't want to use the system no matter how powerful it is under the hood.
pretty much. So improving that editor UX is a constant effort and vital for Drupal's appeal.
Okay, now for something getting a lot of buzz, AI. Several mentions here. How AI and machine learning help Drupal in 2025, a Drupal AI and schema.org manifesto.
Right. Also, agentic AI with the Maestro workflow engine AI task, and even that Amazy.io freely give collaboration mentioned in the sponsored section.
It really feels like AI is moving beyond just talk in the Drupal space. What kind of applications are we seeing or anticipating?
It's becoming more tangible, for sure. We're seeing ideas around automating content tasks like summaries or tagging, improving search, maybe even AI assisting with code generation or site maintenance tasks.
Wow, so potentially touching many different aspects of using and building Drupal sites.
Exactly. The potential's there to really enhance things for both users and developers. It's an exciting area to watch.
Also related to forward thinking, an article on future-proofing your design system. How important is that kind of long-term thinking for design systems?
Oh, incredibly important. A design system isn't a one-and-done thing. Technology changes, user needs evolve.
So you need to build it flexibly from the start.
Yes, anticipate change. A future-proof system saves a ton of time and effort down the road, ensures consistency, and helps you scale more effectively. Essential stuff.
Then there's this whole cluster of very practical hands-on articles. Let me see. Real Drupal site dependency testing. Detect upstream changes with GitLab CI. Improving Drupal CMS performance with Gander. Solving Intel only. Problems on ASOS with Apple Silicon DDV. Bare bones theming with PVV. And Drupal image optimization.
Wow, yeah. That's a lot of practical advice.
What does that collection tell you about the community?
It really highlights the sharing aspect. People figuring things out, solving problems, and then immediately sharing their methods, their tools, their experiences. That practical, collaborative spirit is, I think, one of Drupal's biggest strengths. A real treasure trove for developers and site maintainers.
Absolutely. And speaking of sharing knowledge, good to see the Drupal Open University initiative mentioned, expanding with a Drupal in a Day workshop at Drupal Jam 2025.
Yeah, that's great. Making Drupal learning accessible is key for bringing new people in and upskilling everyone. Initiatives like that are vital for community growth.
Okay, we should also touch on the sponsored content, specifically the reminders about Drupal 7 end of life from Tag 1 and Opticy. They're offering support, audits.
Crucial reminders, D7 EOL isn't just a suggestion.
Why is it so critical to move off D7?
Security, plain and simple. Once a version is unsupported, it doesn't get security patches anymore. running a D7 site becomes increasingly risky over time. It's an open door for attackers.
So those support offers are lifelines for sites still stuck on 7.
Definitely. Getting expert help to migrate or secure a D7 site post-EOL is really important for those organizations.
Also noted was a podcast highlight, Talking Drupal, #498 DOJ accessibility ruling.
Good to see that topic getting attention. Accessibility is fundamental.
Yeah, discussions like that help keep it top of mind, ensure Drupal sites are built for everyone.
It's an ongoing responsibility.
And finally, rounding things out, a couple of module releases, Stagefile Proxy 3.1.5 and Workflow 2.0.0.
Shows the contributed module ecosystem is alive and kicking. Constant updates, improvements.
And the newsletter wraps up with a link to Drupal jobs.
Which is always a good sign, right?
Yeah.
An active job market points to a healthy, in-demand platform.
So if we zoom out from this issue of the weekly drop, what's the big picture?
I'd say it's a picture of dynamism. You've got strong leadership focus, real exploration of new tech like AI, continued refinement of the core, a huge emphasis on practical solutions and sharing.
And a constant focus on both the community and the end user experience.
Exactly. It feels like a project that's not just resting on its laurels, but actively evolving, adapting, and building for the future, driven by that really engaged community.
Well, there's obviously a lot more detail in the newsletter itself. We definitely encourage you, the listener, to check out the full issue and dive into any articles that caught your ear.
For sure. This was just scratching the surface.
Which leads us to a final thought for you to chew on. Given everything we've just touched upon, the AI integration starting to appear, the ongoing core improvements, the focus on community initiatives, what do you think is the single biggest opportunity, or maybe the biggest challenge, facing Drupal and its community over the next, say, couple of years?
That's a good one. Lots to think about there. How to harness AI effectively, how to keep the community thriving, ensuring the platform stays relevant. It'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds.
Indeed it will. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Okay, we're done. To close off this podcast, I just wanted to remind you that this brief was a fully AI-generated summary, and we take no credit for the original content. If you want to learn more, then check out the source. This podcast is produced by the team at Drupal Forge. Drupal Forge is the new #1 open-source development and hosting platform. It has all the functionality of the expensive platforms, but at very affordable prices. If you're looking for a new hosting provider, contact us for a demo before you get locked in. And if you like this podcast, hit subscribe, post a link on social media, and recommend it to 2 friends. That's it. See you next time. Bye for now.